answering questions about French culture with my mom.
Hello.
So a lot of you have been asking me questions about France and French culture, French food, and things like that. And a few weeks ago, I made a video with my sister answering some of these questions, and a lot of you really enjoyed it. So today I thought I would bring my mom so you can get her perspective. And I think it will be really interesting because a lot of you have been asking specifically about French mothers and how they do it all, how they cook and work and take care of the kids and all that thing. Not that it should be only mothers who do it, but here we are. Most of these questions were asked in the comments of my videos or on Instagram, so make sure to comment your questions in this video if you have any more questions. And as usual, just a little disclaimer, this is just our opinion, mostly your opinion. It's the opinion of only one person, one French mother. We're not saying that all French mothers are like this. Again.
Yeah, and it's just the way I wanted to start, you know. I just want to say that, of course, I'm not a perfect mom.
That's not true.
and French mothers are not better than other mothers in the world, you know.
So now I'm going to go ahead with the first question, that is, any thoughts on how busy moms get it all done in France and still stay healthy and cook healthy meals and get things done?
Those concepts of staying healthy and eating healthily seem to be part of our lifestyles, maybe more than other lifestyles, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
And to be more specific, I don't remember those concepts having been an issue for me, you know.
You mean like healthy eating?
Yeah, healthy eating and staying healthy and staying healthy, you know. I don't remember this being an issue.
It's not a burden for us, like it's not.
Yes, you know, and as far as I can remember, I have never thought very hard about that, about those concepts. It has just come naturally because I think it's somehow part of our of my upbringing and the way I was raised. You know,
like how do you find the time to do everything?
Yeah, I get organized. You know, I get organized. You know, as a teacher,
because she's a teacher, by the way.
Yeah, I'm a teacher. I'm fortunate enough to have quite a lot of time spent at home, so it's probably easier for me to get organized. And I'm organized, you know, but not, you know, just in a simple way. You know, it's not. And so regarding cooking healthy meals, I'm sure that most of moms and even dads in the world cook healthy meals for the kids. But once again, the difference in France might be that as French people, we already have good eating habits, you know. We are already used to eating healthily. So when we become parents, it doesn't become a big issue. We are just used to it. We know how to cope with food and, you know, and feeding our kids. And so, yeah, I remember, for example, when you were babies and then kids, when you were little, I just remember buying good products for you. And it has never been, feeding you has never been an issue. Of course, you had some preferences and even a few things you didn't like, but which was totally fine. But, you know, it's never been an issue. And
I think maybe also they mean like, how do you find the time to make healthy meals for your kids and things like that?
So this is something else. Once again, it's a matter of really organization.
Priorities.
So, priorities. And I mean, I've always cooked for dinner, for example. I've always cooked for dinner.
Never skipped it.
Never skipped any dinner. But cooking for dinner doesn't mean that it's very complicated or time consuming, you see. I mean, if you get organized, you can spend half an hour cooking healthy and simple meals every night. It's not a big deal. I mean, you know, it's okay, and it's I always find pleasure in cooking personally. So it's never
That's
a chore.
Important, I think.
It's never a
For
chore,
French
and
people,
I think it's part of the healthy process, and the fact that it's not. It's easy. It's easy, and
And I think that's an important thing in France. Most people see cooking as like something pleasurable, and then eating meals as something that we really enjoy. And it's not like a chore. It's not like, oh, this is so annoying, I have to cook. It's more like, oh, this is an opportunity to have a nice family meal, feed my family healthy foods. You know, it makes me feel good. And I remember you say this, well, you'll probably talk about it more, but when you eat just by yourself, you eat like really simply on the go.
Of course. For example, when I have lunch by myself, which happens quite often, you know, I make very simple meals like an omelette and a salad, or a piece of cheese with some nice brown bread and a piece of fruit, you know, things like that. But it's always healthy, by the way, but very simple. I don't spend time on,
really the pleasure
on doing this.
Cooking for the family. Another question I got is, can you describe a typical day in your life, food-wise, work-wise, and cooking and meal planning? Another long question.
So as I told you, I'm a teacher, so I spend a lot of time at home, which allows me to get organized maybe more easily than other moms. Food-wise, when I spend full days at school, I usually bring some leftovers from the previous dinner, or occasionally I buy a ready-cooked dish from Picard, which is a very nice frozen food store, but very nice, healthy meals.
Additives.
And as I told you, when I'm home, when I work from home, I for lunch, I'm talking about lunch first, I just prepare something very quick and healthy for me. As for dinner, I always cook, because I think having dinner as a family is very typical of French people. It's a tradition in France, you know. It's no this TV. Moment, no TV. It's this moment when all the family will gather around the table, have a nice chat, and share their days, and you know, and
it's long. It takes a long time.
It can last up to an hour. I mean, dinner time, an hour. On Sunday, on Sundays it can last up to 2 hours. And it's so pleasant. It's such a pleasant tradition. So, and as I told you before, I really like to cook for dinner. And once again, it's hardly complicated. It's just that I like to buy good products with good nutritional value, so that I think that what we eat overall for dinner is quite colorful, flavorful, and healthy.
That's great. And then how about how do you do like your meal planning? Can you talk a little bit about that? Sorry for the lighting.
So first, every week I stick like a post-it note or two on my kitchen wall, you know, and every time I realize something is missing, an ingredient is missing, or if I get some meal ideas, you know, and sometimes I get some ideas by just listening to the radio, watching TV, or reading a magazine, watching your videos, you know. I write it down on the post-it note, you know, and this is the first step. And usually the second step happens sometime just before going shopping. And there, of course, I need to complete the list, and basically I use my recipe books. I have about maybe 7 or 8 recipe books, you know, and so I take a couple of them, you know, I browse through them, and until I pick a recipe that I feel like doing, and then of course I write the ingredients I will need for this recipe, and I do this. I go like this until I have enough meal ideas for the week, you know, and that's how I
so you buy your ingredients specifically for your recipes.
That's what I do most of the time. Sometimes it happens that when I go to my grocery store, I just feel like buying some new products, for example, or some products that appeal to me. And then starting from there, I will do something, you know. But Most of the time I do the reverse.
Do you have anything else?
No, just I was about to talk about my grocery shopping habits.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't know, because I talked about meal planning.
Yeah, that's the question. There's another question about that. I'll tell you. So they asked, where do you get your meal ideas? You kind of answered, recipe books.
Recipe books, most of the time, or from, from listening to the radio, or just thinking about it.
She's answering all these questions before I even ask them. That's crazy. What are the main differences between how American people shop for groceries versus French people? Yeah.
Maybe the main difference is is related to quantity. It seems to me that most French people don't enjoy buying huge quantities of food. No. They don't find pleasure in that, buying huge quantities of food. Of course, as I do, they sometimes go to supermarkets, buy the bulk of their groceries, to buy most of the staples, most of the groceries. But then they tend to go to smaller specific stores to buy more local and healthy products, and very often organic products, like and cheese store or also. Like
go to the markets.
And they love, French people love to go to farmers markets. They love that. It's really something French people love, And having spent 5 years in the US, quite a long time ago now, I remember those people flocking to Sam's Club or Costco, to like buy in bulk. To buy in bulk, And I don't think this is very popular in our country. I would say that in France, quality prevails over quantity. Of course, once again, this is generality, and it is not true for everybody. Neither in France or in the US. But
we're still going to get a comment on that. But that's okay.
Absolutely. Once again, it's generality. Quality over quantity, I think.
No, you're right. And even as a family, because I see when we eat meals at our grandparents' house, there's like 20 of us at the table.
That's right.
And we still just buy regular amounts of food. It's not like these huge things. I remember going to birthday parties as a kid, and there'd just be just huge amounts of food, and even just parties, there's just tons of food. There's way too much food. I would say for us, we have enough food, of course. It's not like we're hungry. We have tons of food.
Not at all.
But it's more little, I would say little...
Very diverse.
Yeah, diverse. Tons of different little things. I'm thinking for our last family gathering, we ordered food from a traiteur. How do you say that in English? Traiteur.
Catering.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Little foods, things like that. But we're never going to buy huge things in bulk.
No, it doesn't appeal to us,
For us, it's low quality, we imagine. If it's quantity. Yeah. I feel like we can't have both. Maybe that's fake. Not true,
but it's the way we
and then I would say also maybe you said this a little bit, but you grocery shop maybe more frequently. Maybe
overall yes. So regarding my grocery shopping habits, I would say that I do most of it once a week, usually on Friday afternoons before the weekends, And since we've been in Paris, I've been going to Monoprix, which is a very nice food store.
Expensive.
And I've never been to huge supermarkets like hypermarkets. I've always been to rather small supermarkets. So this is for the bulk of my groceries, and then I like to go to, as I told you before, to smaller specific stores to buy some cheeses or some fresh vegetables and fruit, or some frozen veggies from Picard, things like that, And this is very, very French, I think, to buy this way. So, so once or twice a week, the bulk of my groceries, and then specific stores, you know.
And also, this is just this random thing that's coming to mind. I think you can also answer this question about the habits between like French and American people. Is that I realize that, and you talked about how you plan your meals. When you plan your meals, you always plan your meal like for the entire family, and we all eat the same thing. And some American people I know, they just buy different ingredients for everyone, like different things. Like the kids, they eat different things. Like they make lunches. Like each kid has like a different lunch with like things that they have.
It's not the case at all in France, and it makes things much easier for us French people. You have always eaten the same food as we did, you know. So this is, I think this is a very important point, you know. The whole family eats the same things, the same kind of food. So this is very helpful, and convenient and healthy, I think. Kids are used to eating a huge variety of foods, you know. They don't become picky. They're used to eating everything.
So our last question is, how do French mothers feed their kids healthily? How do they deal with picky eaters? And what would you say matters most? What would you say?
You know, I would say don't be obsessed with cooking healthy meals for your kids, you know. Once again, I told you this before, it doesn't have to be complicated or time-consuming. To me, what matters the most is buying good products for your children, good produce, you know. This is with good nutritional value. And then if you have the good products, the good ingredients at home, close to hand, it can take you no more than 10 to 15 minutes to make something good and healthy. You know, it doesn't have to be fancy. Of course, sometimes at weekends or when I have more time during my holidays, I spend
hours sometimes. Like
I like to make something a little fancier or more challenging, you know, and I don't mind spending a couple of hours cooking because I find pleasure in that, you know. But it does. Once again, it doesn't have to be a chore. You know, it mustn't be a chore. And I think this is the most important thing. What matters the most is buying food with good nutritional value, and then as long as you have good produce, then it will be healthy and colorful and flavorful, and your kids will be happy.
Yeah,
that's what I would say.
Yeah, I think that this thing about not obsessing over healthy eating is really prevalent in French culture. Like in lots of things, like we're not like obsessive people. I feel like we like to eat healthy. We have like generally healthy, balanced meals, but it's not something that we obsess over. It's not something that's going to take up all our energy, and if it's not perfect, that it's not going to be okay. Where I think that that's also a big thing. And on still this note of not being obsessed, I feel like this also helps like for kids. Like if your kids don't want to eat like vegetables, for instance, if you obsess over it and be like, you have to eat the vegetables, you have to eat it, you can't eat the cookie is bad. I feel like that's not something French people do.
No,
I don't know, do you have any advice on that?
No food was forbidden when you were little.
No, never.
Of course, no food was forbidden, and I think that's very important too. What I offered you, generally speaking, was very healthy, you know, but sometimes there were some biscuits,
but it wasn't like put on a pedestal. It was just
not at all. But nothing was forbidden, and I think that's important too. And as you say, I think what is very important is to from a very young age to offer your kids a huge variety of foods. So that they get used to it, you know, and if they don't like it at some point, you can offer this food again, you know, try to offer it again, and
without pressuring them.
And if he doesn't like it eventually, so what? I mean, it's not a big deal. You have to take it easy, you know. I mean, children are allowed not to like everything, you know. It's
no, but I remember you kept reintroducing foods. That's important, because foods I didn't like,
we would do that, and
without any pressure.
And once again, because we would eat out all together as a family.
We didn't have other options.
Yeah, so at some point you had to eat what was on the table. So, and I think this is one good piece of advice I could give, you know. Not being obsessed with that, but doing the right thing, you know, very simple things, in fact.
So I think we're going to stop here, because Mom has already given you tons of good advice.
That's right.
This video is going to be so long. So thank you so much, Mom, for coming.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for answering these questions. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have any more questions, as usual, don't forget to comment them, and we will do other videos, maybe with my mom, with my sister, maybe the three of us. Maybe I can get my dad and my brother on here. Just kidding, that will never happen. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like it, and are you making fun of me?
Ah, je croyais que j'étais plus.
Okay, she thought she wasn't on the camera. Yes, Mom, you were still. Oh, now you're not. You're still on there. Okay, you're just mocking me. No problem. So don't forget to like it and subscribe, and see you on my next one.
Bye. Bye.